Welcome back to Prep Huddle Live here on StriveSports.com. Jump into our next segment and go to the Truck Center Company's hotline with North Bend Central coach, wrestling coach Ken Streff. Coach, thanks a lot for taking some time out on an off day for you. Well, there's no off days at this point in the season, but an off day for school anyway.
Thanks, Eric. Anytime. Glad to be on board.
Last weekend, you guys were able to defend a conference title for the wrestling program. Talk about the way the team performed. Looking at it, there was an awful lot of gold medals that got handed out for Tiger wrestlers.
Yeah, we went to conference in Tacoma there, and I'll tell you what, our guys were looking to peak this time of year and went to Tacoma there, and I'll tell you what, we all hit on all cylinders, and up and down the lineup we wrestled well, and our goal was to finally finish the tournament. We've been kind of going to finals and going below 500 in finals round, and this last week we went above 500 and pulled away from the competition. It was good to hold on to that and kind of start the championship roll for other teams. Our basketball teams also scored championships, so great start to our February.
That had to be kind of exciting for the whole school, really, and it was a fun tweet I know that we saw from your school account to see all of the championships. So what was it like in the halls on Monday when everyone had that winning feeling?
It was great. We had a little pep rally for everybody, and actually our wrestling team was coming back from Grand Island, and we decided to stop by Columbus and watch our basketball teams win their championship. So we were on board there, about the whole bus in, and it was great to see those guys pull off the victories. And I'll tell you what, it's been great here the last couple of days, and talk about bringing the whole school together. It's been exciting.
You've got a really great team, obviously, with a lot of guys that have performed well throughout the year. So let's go down the roster a little bit and talk about some of the guys who have performed so well throughout the year.
Well, you start at 106, Mason Witt, junior for us, 22 and 18 right now, and then really look at the pre-seeds for district, like where he's at. You go up through the 32 through 38. You got Jacob Ray, Josh Strauss, and Brandon Wardman. They have some tough seeds, but I like how they've been wrestling lately. They're getting ready to peak, and hopefully we can get them down to state there in Omaha. You get to 52. We just have a tough 52-pounder, Shaq Westerman, who really only started wrestling when he was a freshman. He's looking at 33 and 11 right now, maybe a top seed in there. Right now he's a pre-seed number one, but we'll have to go through seed meeting first. But then you get to Zach Bohr. We know he's solid there at 160. At 170, Dalton Mueller. Looking pretty sharp there, too, at 35 and 2. One of his losses is the number 2 seed, Cooper Von Segren from Wisner. So that'll be exciting district finals up through 82 with Brock Ray, and then 95 with Jordan Booth. And we moved Shane Hansen from heavyweight down to 220, and right now he's looking pretty good, this seed there. So we're hoping to qualify between 6 and 10. Really our numbers to hit that top 10 right there.
Now, I have to stop you a little bit because you mentioned that Zach Bohr was pretty solid there at 160. Zach had a feat that he accomplished in his sophomore year that nobody else in the state has. He's reached 100 wins in less than 2 full seasons. So can you put in perspective what he has meant, not just for the wins that he's gotten on the mat, but how he impacts the rest of the guys?
I'll tell you what, he gets into the room and he asks more questions than anyone else. He's a great kid. He's coachable. Talk about a great wrestling partner. He's out there to help everyone else. If you ever talk to the kid, if you get a word out of him, you're lucky. He's a quiet type of kid, great demeanor, comes into our room, and while he has his goals, his personal goals, he really has goals for his team, and he wants to see his teammates succeed. So to have a kid that special in our room, it's probably once in a coaching career you get that. So I'm excited to have him in there.
How does some of the things that he do, can it translate to other kids? Is he's the kind of guy that can show them different things that maybe even a coach doesn't necessarily get to?
Yeah, I'm 34 years old, but I can't roll around as well as those guys do anymore. And he can get in there and show some of the drills we're looking at. And you look at that lineup from, from 38 up to 82, they all wrestle with each other. And there's a reason they're all getting better. It's because, guys like Zach step in there, and there's no easy days in our room. In fact, poor Shadrick Westerman, I think he has tougher days of practice than he does at some of the meets. So you're right in saying that he does make the guys better just every day in all the drills he does.
As a coach, when you start out with a season, you kind of have a general idea of how things probably will go. You'd like to say, well, this kid has put in this time, and you expect certain things out of certain individuals. But as the season goes on, there's always a few things that might come up as a surprise. So what are some of the surprises, good or bad, for you guys this year?
Not having Joel Hennish in there for a while. He's been down with a couple injuries, so we had to kind of replace him in the lineup there. He would have been a solid 45 to 2-pounder. But then a couple surprises for us. Just Jordan Booz at 95 was dribbling basketballs last year, and this year decided to come out as a senior for wrestling, and here he is, 30 and 12. Brian Workus, same way at heavyweight. He has a tough draw there at districts, but 22 and 18. Guys like that you haven't had around for 3 or 4 years coming out their senior year and helping us out. That's huge for our team. Without them, our success at these local tournaments would have been hard to find. So great surprises in those guys, and I think we're going to get a couple of them down to state.
Now you got a district meet obviously coming up this weekend. You guys head to St. Paul. So what are the outlook for some of the guys?
Well, I like how the bulk of our roster looks in the lineup, but Syracuse and Sutton and Takema Herman, Pierce, they're solid teams, and so I'd like to see that our 6-pounder and our 32 through 45-pounders got a decent shot there. You get through 52 to really 180, 182. That's kind of our murderer's row. Those guys are solid, and so. Like I said, 6 to 10 would be our goal. I really think we have a chance of getting 10 in there. But you look at Syracuse; they're qualifying, or they're bringing 13 weights in there. We're only bringing 12. Our overall goal is to qualify for state duels, but right there we're a weight class down. So we have some work to do, and our guys know the challenge at hand, and they're going to take care of business.
Having a guy like Zach that obviously performed so well at state last year, with the ultimate goal of trying to get there to the state tournament, do you put that in the guys' minds this week, or do you save that for Monday?
Really, we take a day-by-day approach. We have our goals, but we talk more about the root and don't worry about the fruit of things. So it's a day-to-day approach on things, what's important right now, what's important in today's practice. We don't get ahead of ourselves. We know the most important match is the next one. So if you come into our room, you never hear us talk about state right away. It's going to be about districts and that first match at districts, and we go from there. So we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We know each of these opponents, if you take them easy, they're going to come back and whoop you.
Well, it should be fun to see what happens and transpires there. Obviously, a good district there at St. Paul. Coach Ken Streff, North Bend Wrestling, thanks so much for the time. Best of luck to the rest of the way.
Hey, thanks, Eric. Thanks for having me on.
We are going to come back in just a little bit, folks. We're going to talk more wrestling. Rob Sanders with IndieWrestle.com will join us on Prep Huddle Live on StriveSports.com.